everyone, welcome to Manish Patel in Conversation With, the podcast where we kick back, chat and dive into some really interesting life stories. I'm your host, Manish Patel, and here it's all about good vibes, great conversations and lots of laughs. So get comfy, grab your favourite drink and let's get this podcast started. Today's guest, we've got such an inspirational man. What can you say about him? He's a marathon phenomenon as well. I think he'd agree with me on that. So, first of all, I would like to say, Blind Dave Heeley, thank you so much for joining us and thank you for your time. How are you?
Pleasure. No, I'm well, thank you. Obviously turning into autumn now, and I think summer come to an end, didn't it? The end of August, and somebody flicked a switch and it is certainly now autumn. Wow. But yeah, all's good in the land of.
Good. And you kind of just refer to it there, time flies by, doesn't it?
Don't know. It's ridiculous. I mean, I can remember, January time, New Year's Day, all the rest of it, and then January went through and we went, wow, it's going a bit slow, let's hope the year, is going like this. And then suddenly it's like, October's looming. Where did the 12 months go? It's ridiculous. Hey ho.
Yes. So, this is all about you, about your life, giving you an opportunity to reflect on your life as well. So, interesting question to begin with. So, your friends, so how would they describe you in 3 words, would you say?
You got a bleep machine. Maybe very interesting character.
Okay.
Possibly. Raving nutcase. Yeah, there's a few words that I could put to it, I'm guessing. There's a few words that have been put to it, but I dare not say them on air. But no, I think that's a good question. And we could probably be here all day picking up 3 words here and 3 words there, but interesting character. A very interesting character,
Nice.
I'd say, yeah.
Talking about your childhood days, how was school life for you?
Yeah, school life was good. I enjoyed school. Went to Grid Screen Junior, which is now knocked down. Nothing to do with me. Then went on to school at high school, George Salter High School. So I'm a local lad, born in Grid Screen, 1957. That gives me age away. I'm 39 in a few months. But yeah, school days was good. In the day, if you want, when I was a kid, and I always say this, and I suppose the kids of today, my kids will say it in hopefully 40, 50 years time to their kids, like the best years of my life was my school years, and I'm glad I did it when I did it. There was no restrictions, I thought, so much when I was a kid. We went to school, we come back, there was a gang of us in the street, everybody knew everybody over the park playing footy, or over the fields on the trolleys and the bikes. Life was just interesting. Grid Screen Junior School, yeah, it was great. I can remember bits and pieces of, the infants and certainly the juniors. Got picked for the school team. I was right back. They said I should have been right back in the dressing room, but no, I got into the team. And then I went on to George Salter High School, which, obviously the learning begins, if you want to, in essence. And yeah, it was good 5 years. I didn't want to go on to sixth form. I certainly didn't want to go on to university. My main ambition coming through the latter years of education was a career. I would have loved to have joined the army. But school years, I played football for the local team, never got into the school team, but my athletics came to the forefront as I used to enjoy my running. I was sport mad, if you want to, and we were in those days. Silly things like you'd put a pair of roller skates on, you'd get on your bike, you'd get on your scooter, you'd make a trolley and you'd be going down the street. We did all sorts of things, and there was not so much the restrictions were lower. I think there was not too many cars on the road. Life was great because you could get about, you could do all these sorts of things without all the hazards and the dangers. But coming back to my athletics, I really enjoyed my athletics. I got thrown into the school team at George Salters. Mr. Dyson, our PE teacher, on the local, the West Bromwich Schools Championships, he says, "Your first reserve, Heeley." I went, "Okay, sir." And I got on the coach, and by the time I got off the coach, he says, "You're running the 1,500 metres this afternoon." I thought, "Oh, okay." So I'd never run 1,500 metres before in my life, although I'd run, some distances. Well, not competitive and controlled. And we stood on the line of the 1,500 metres. I was in the first year, won it, and then I won it 5 years on the trot. And I really enjoyed my athletics. Did cross country as well. I got into the town team, I got into the county team. And I was enjoying it. Sadly, 16 sight level started dropping, although I wouldn't accept it, but there were certain things I could do, couldn't do. And then leaving school at 16, I went in straight into work, because I know a couple of my mates has gone as junior leaders in the army, and I wanted to join the regulars, so I waited until I was 18 to go for my medical. But I started at a place called SCM, which is Smith Corona typewriters up on West Bromwich Ring Grey, and I had a good couple of years there. But my heart of hearts was always enjoying the army. But by this time, my sight levels had dropped to a point. I knew, I think, in my own heart of hearts that it was never going to be. But like I say to people now, I don't like being told no, and I don't like being told yes. I've got to go and find out for myself. And so I went for my army medical. And unfortunately I never got in, so that was a disappointment completely. So but I hope that's the build up to when I was 18, I guess.
Yeah, and that was actually going to be my next question. Actually, at the age you must, I think it was around 17 when you realised the condition in terms of the impact it was having on your life, and really how obviously dreams of getting into the army, what you could say were shattered. How difficult a moment was that for you?
It was awful, absolutely awful. Up until that time, I knew my sight levels was dropping. I was diagnosed at 10 and told I got RP or Retinitis Pigmentosa, and son, you're going blind. My granddad was blind, so I was accustomed to being around a blind person. It's hereditary. But at 10 years of age, it's a case of, am I? I'm all right, if you say so. I can still see the sun and the moon and the stars. And then as you start moving through life, and then 16 came, and then 17 came. The glasses got thicker, and I do believe in my own heart of hearts. I knew what was going to be said to me, but you still don't want to accept it, and I wouldn't accept it. So, as I said, I went for the army medical, got told, son, you're exempt, and those 3 words devastated me. I've got to be honest with you, they devastated me, and I'm not ashamed or embarrassed to say it. I went out of that place, I refused the bus fare. That wasn't their fault. It was nobody's fault, was it? It was mine. Went down the steps at Stevenson's place, I remember it very, very well. Jumped onto the number 74 bus, went home. Got home, never said nothing to mum and dad because I never even told them I'd gone to join the army. And I went in my bedroom and I cried. Sat there and asked that question, why me? Why me? So, it was a bit of a wrench. Inside of me was hurting very badly. I was angry, I was bitter. Not at anybody, not at life really. It was just angry at me. It was happening to me. It was my fault. And it was just one of them things. And so then, although I had that smile on my face through, with friends, family, etc., I had a couple of years, probably more than a couple of years, where, I was feeling sorry for myself inside, and I was beating myself up and all the rest of it. But came the day of realisation when I thought, you know what, life's for living, and I've got to stop this nonsense, which I did. Who, why, where? I don't know what caused that switch to sort of go from off to on, if you want to. And it was a Wednesday evening. I just walked out the house, smile on my face, genuine spring in my step, and I thought, let's start living. And that's exactly what I did. And I haven't looked back since, and I'm still enjoying life. I've got a wonderful family, wonderful kids. Life has been very, very good to me, and although this might sound absolutely ridiculous to a lot of people, I now look upon blindness as a gift, because it has gifted me a wonderful life.
Well, I'm glad that I'm glad that you've had you still have a wonderful life.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. Just talk to me about that moment when you had to use that white stick for the first time. How hard was that?
It was quite funny, actually. I'm going back because I went to, where was it? A place called the Crest, only just down the road, and it all happened because I fell down some roadworks, because I wouldn't own up to blindness. I wouldn't own up to the fact that I was losing my sight. And by this time I hadn't lost my sight completely, but going up the road, I'd always had night blindness. When things don't happen, I went up the road the one evening and I fell down some roadworks, and I thought, you know what, Dave, you're stupid. You got to get some help somewhere along the line. People keep telling me to get help. The missus kept telling me to get help, and you just well, it's like, nah, I don't need no help. I can manage, thank you. And obviously I couldn't. So the very next day I got in touch with social services, who put me in touch with, and I can't remember the chap's name now, Thomas I think it was, and I went down to the Crest and they gave me a little bit of white cane training. Oh, it was a nightmare, absolute nightmare. Do this, do that, do the other. I thought it was easy just to swing the perishing thing, so that's how I did. I just swung it, and if he did something I was I stopped, and if he did, I kept on going. But where I started with my proper white cane training was when I went to Queen Alexandra College, and they used to do a mobility session through the week, and Ruth, bless her, I still see her to this day. Well, that's a lie, but I bumped into her this day. And she's just recently retired from college, and she always laughs at me. She says, Dave, you was never going to get on with that white stick. I said, listen, I'll swing it. She said, that's about all you're going to do. I said, but it works for you, doesn't it? I said, exactly. So, yeah, but I think it was more of a fun thing when I put it into my hand the first time, and then you realise how serious it's got, that you've got to have a white cane, you know what I mean? So, yeah it's one of them. Yeah, interesting times.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned about Queen Alexandra College for the blind. So 3 years there you spent.
Yes.
And you had to get skills in braille, computers, carpentry and wood turning.
Yeah.
And obviously at that time as well, you were also introduced to Peter, your first guide dog as well. How big a moment was that for you?
Well, it was fabulous actually, because it all come about with the fact that I've been made redundant, and you're going blind, or I was virtually blind then, and you're on the scrap heap, as far as people are concerned and businesses. Anyway, I got introduced to Queen Alexandra College for the blind, and they said, well, why don't you go and sort of retrain doing something? I thought, okay, let's give it a whirl. I went over to see the college, or to visit the college, and I'll tell you what, I was impressed. In the meantime, I'd also been introduced to guide dogs for the blind. They said, somebody said, why didn't you try one? So everything happened at the same time. I got accepted into the college, and then I told them that I was going to train for the guide dog, and they said, that's no problem, we can delay, the start. I got my guide dog, Peter. Couldn't believe what and how Peter, the guide dog, was going to change my life. Mobility, independence on a social basis. And it was when I come back out of there, I then went into college, and college was great. 3 years, fantastic. I was a day student. I could have stayed there, but I didn't want to. I was a day student and come back each night, went in there in the morning. Obviously with Pete, it was great. Did a craft and design course, which basically was carpentry, included wood turning, and that was a fabulous 3 years. I did braille, although I'd done a little bit of braille previously. I was sort of A, B, oh yeah, what's this one? And then I went from grade 1 to grade 2, and had a fantastic Braille teacher. But Queen Alexandra College for me was a lovely learning curve, and what it set me up was my carpentry. I've got my own workshop now, which, you know, I'm not making money from it as such. It's more therapeutic these days, but I truly, truly enjoy it. I know how to do a proper joint, I know how to glue this, I know what kind of material. You know, it really had a fantastic lecture. And I would recommend to any parent who has a child that's got some form of disability, be it eyesight, be it whatever, Queen Alexandra College is a fantastic place for them to find themselves, if you want to. So yeah, it was great times.
Well, good to hear that you had a great time in there. Talk to me about Debbie. You're happily married, and obviously you have 3 daughters as well. Yeah, talk to me about Debbie and how you first met.
Well, we met through business, to be totally honest with you. Deb used to work for a manufacturer that I used to buy from, and it was just a simple case of things developed, things happened. My marriage was not too grand. Deb's marriage was not too grand. That wasn't the cause of it, and I think it was over a period we just saw it, and things blended, and we kind of, I guess, things were not happy, you know, at either our homes. We tended to blend. There was obviously some connection there, and eventually we got together, and we had 3 kids. We eventually got married. We was together for a long time, and then we decided, like, this time we'd do it all backwards. So we got together, we lived together, we had the kids, then we got married, then we got engaged, then we got eternitized, you know. So we've had some fantastic times, and Deb is my soulmate. She's my best friend, you know, and that's it. And I think, unfortunately, none of us in this world get married to get divorced, and that is not, you know, the way forward. But unfortunately, I did get divorced, or we got divorced, and but, you know, 3rd time lucky for me, I guess. But I've found my true soulmate, and so, as I said, can't reiterate, Deb's my best friend, my wife, mother of the kids, the gaffer. You know, she just says jump, I just ask how high, and that's it. And I would like to think, from my whole heart of hearts, we've got a fantastic life together, and a fantastic family.
What attracted you to Debbie?
Just her personality, just her ways, just the way she was, just the way that we blended, just the way we sort of developed, and we were kind of like-minded. And yeah, and it's difficult to say what. It just happened. You know, it just happened, and we became one. That's from my side of the story. She may tell you a difference. But, you know, we just became one, really, and, you know, we're like everybody, like every couple, we've had our ups and downs, but no, that's all I can say, really. We just blended, became one, and, you know, really, hopefully, touch wood, the rest is history, and we'll, you know, be there forevermore.
You have 3 daughters, as you mentioned, Grace, yeah, Georgie Lee and Danny.
Yeah.
How proud of you of all 3 of your daughters?
Oh, very, 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 very. They've all done extremely well. They've gone through school, obviously all 3, you know, educated. Went to university, they've got their degrees, they've got, and they found themselves some wonderful jobs, and what more can you ask? You can't ask for more than that, can you? You know, they've got a career set out in front of them. They're doing very well. I'm just so proud of all 3 of them. All 3 of them for the way that they run their lives, the way that they've achieved things, that get up and go spirit amongst them. And yeah, so all I can say is I'm a very, very proud dad.
That's wonderful to hear. Now, despite your blindness, you've gone to achieve so many running accomplishments. But I have to begin. I have to talk about your challenge of running 7 marathons over 7 days in 7 continents. How how tough was that? Which of the 7 would you say was the toughest?
Now that's a question that I get asked all the time, and I can't honestly say.
Really?
Yeah, I can't say that there was one that was tougher than others, because it's one of them. They're all tough, and they were tough, and they got tougher as the week went on. Obviously, the travelling, the different countries, continents, weather, all sorts. It was incredible, and it was an incredible 7 days. But to say that there was one tougher than the rest, I'm going to say no, because they all hold very special memories. I mean, if we got sort of a week, I'd run through it, through the whole 7, and there's memories from them all. But they were all tough. I can't isolate one. All I could just do is when I get the opportunity, share the various memories from it. I can take you back. Falklands was fantastic. Rio was kind of lonely in a sense, although we got a guide runner because we had to change it because of the Argentinians. LA was absolutely brilliant. Sydney, fantastic. Then we went on to Dubai, which was just unbelievable. And then Tunisia, that was an interesting run, changed halfway through by the police in Tunis. And then obviously we finished with the London Marathon, which was just incredible because it's, London Marathon is my favourite marathon of all. And they were just all fantastic. And to get the crew together at some point, I think we'd be talking for 12 months, about all of the incidences, all the things that happened, the good, the bad and the ugly. But it was just one hell of a week. One hell of a week.
And I guess particularly with that challenge, I think obviously there's the physical side of things, but obviously mentally as well, that must have, at times, that must have been tough as well.
Yes and no. I mean, going back to it now, I mean, I got we got a physio report that was done. Because when we kicked off, I was under the guidance of the Sports Institute in Northern Ireland, and they were absolutely incredible people. Dr. Philip Glasgow come around the world with us. But they slapped this little miniature computer on my arm, and that was on there from just before I started the first one and took off as we finished the last one. And it recorded everything, sleep patterns, running patterns, calories lost, intake. It was just phenomenal. And some of the stats that came back, I mean, it was like over the week, which obviously is 168 hours over 7 days, and this thing recorded I slept, with all the travelling, with all of the running, obviously I wasn't sleeping when I was running, over that week I slept shy of 19 hours. Calories burned, calories done, 34,000 miles in the air to run 183 on the floor. And it was one of them, I think it was just pure adrenaline. I didn't feel tiredness of sorts, it was just that, got to be done, got to be done, got to be done. And you do it. And now I look back and I think, how the hell did I do it really? But it was just unbelievable. And, there was sort of no tiredness, no stress, there was no this. We had so much fun in the airport as much as we did when we were running. And then even when I finished the last one, and we went through all of the talking and all the rest of it, and then the following morning I was up at 5 and on so many TV programmes and so many this, so many that, so many the other. And then I had a rest for the week and then I was running again. And I think I was a lot younger, but I think it was just the occasion, or the occasions. It just didn't seem to affect. Somebody said, he'll catch up with you one day. And touch wood, it hasn't. And, we've gone on to do others, but it was just one of those weeks. It was just an incredible, incredible week. Yeah. I'd recommend it.
Well, the thing is that you look at so many people that are taking on so many running challenges nowadays. Yeah. I think, for anyone who takes up a marathon, I think they're heroes themselves.
Definitely, yeah. Definitely.
So speaking of marathons, how many marathons have you completed?
I wouldn't have a clue. I seriously wouldn't have a clue. I've done all sorts. I've done 7 on the bounce. I've done 10 on the bounce. I've run them around the world. I don't know. I've never actually counted. Well, there's 7. There was 10 on the bounce there. There's 17. And then various others I've done. I've done 17 London marathons. So I don't know. Maybe officially upwards of say 50. In training, when I was training for the 7 marathons, we probably did a marathon distance or an ultra distance every other day, coming towards the latter sort of 6 weeks.
Wow.
So it's not counted as official marathons, but we were running sort of, if you want to, in training, a marathon for fun.
Yeah.
And Deb boys used to say, because we'd go out at 6 and I'd come back and they'd go, "How far are you gone today?" And I've gone, we've done 22 or 23 miles doing, sessions this, and he goes, and it seemed like you've just gone out the gate and you're still, you're fresh. But I think it's testament to the fact that I've always said this, if you put it in, you'll get it out. And we were training and, wow, we were fit. And, that's it. But done some, I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed, and I still am enjoying everything that I've done. Some, some are harder than others. Some have tested the body. Some have given you a few aches and pains. But hey ho, when you look back over life and you say, well, I did it. You can't take it away from me.
Yeah.
So and hopefully I'll encourage others to have a crack at anything.
Yeah. And what has kept you going?
Good question. I'm guessing the adventure of wanting to join the army, probably the adventurer is still within me. Fitness is a drug for me, and I do believe that, the fitter you are, the more chance you've got in life, as in longer life. Do I really want to sit around and have all the aches and pains? No. I'd rather be running and have the aches and pains, if you know what I mean. I just think, and then I support the charity or charities that I've supported, and more so now with the Albion Foundation, because it's all about kids with disability. And if I can create that awareness, and obviously funding, but more importantly, if you can, dare I use the word, inspire these kids, they may say, "Oh, if we can do that, I can do it," and that's what I'm looking for. But I do enjoy it. I enjoy pushing myself. I don't want no world records per se. The times have gone now. I've done all my times that I want to do, and you've got all that behind you. Now I just start and finish and enjoy the bit in the middle. But if like a lot of people who stop me occasionally, they'll say, "Do you know, it was because of you I done that marathon, because of you I done that half," and I think, "Oh, I'm proud of that," because I've obviously kicked somebody into doing something that they've always wanted to do.
Well, in my eyes, you are a true inspiration, and you kind of just touched on it there in the sense of people that when you go running and you bump into people, not literally, but but you know what I mean. But in terms of when people do actually see you and they say that you've inspired them, how does that make you feel?
It makes me feel very, very good, because at least you've done something, haven't you? You know what I mean? It's all this pain and effort and whatnot, as much as I enjoy it anyway. And we do go out to enjoy it now, me and Tone, and we have a laugh while we're running around. We meet a lot of people, and we stop and talk. I mean, like yourself, you know what I mean? It's nice to hear, and it puts a little smile on my face, because, I have had people stop me and go, you're so-and-so. You got me into this, and I'm, so, and I have a little smile thinking, well, I know you've gone through the pain barrier and it's hurt you a little bit, but you really are enjoying it. And I go, yeah. And that makes me feel very, very good, because somehow, some way, that inspiration has come through, I guess. So the more I can help, the better it is.
Yeah, and speaking of marathons, this year you ran the London Marathon with your 3 daughters.
Yeah.
How special a day was that? Not just for you, but for your
Brilliant.
For your family.
Brilliant. I mean, I can't express really how proud I am of them and what a fantastic day it was. And I know people say, "Oh, is that your last marathon?" I go, "No, it's my last London marathon." Over the latter 2 or 3 years, unfortunately, and I don't know why, I've had to have 2 knee replacements. And the consultant turned around and said, "Look, we've got data for cycling, data for walking, etc., etc. But he says, I know you're running. He says, I'd rather you didn't." And I said, "Okay, we'll see." So I did start running again, obviously, and I did say to him, and it was also in my head, if my knees start hurting in a painful way that I think it's my knees, and I'll stop. But I thought, we'll see, let's see what happens. So I started running a little bit, and there wasn't any pain. Well, there was pain everywhere else in my body but my knees. And then my 3 girls have took up the running mantle, and they sort of enjoyed 10Ks, half marathons, etc., etc., etc. And I did mention, I said, "Look, I'm going to do no more Londons, because with London Marathon, I love it. It's a fantastic marathon. It's the best in the world as far as I'm concerned. But when you enter into the London Marathon, you've got to train because you want to give it your best shot, if you know what I mean. You don't want to just go there and just be, I want to go there and prove to myself." So I thought, do I really want to go out every weekend training 20 miles? And they said, "Dad, before you throw your shoes in the bucket for the London Marathon, we would like to run one with you." How do you turn 3 girls down? You don't, do you?
No.
You think in your head, my consultant ain't going to like this too much. Am my knees going to do it? Am I getting too old? But I've got 3 kids, my kids, love them to bits. How do I say no to that? You don't. So I spoke to someone at London who I know, and they were very, very good, and they got all 3 of them in, because I've got a Spirit of London award which guarantees me a place for life. So we were all in, and they took up the challenge tremendously. They were out there training day and night, all kinds of weathers. And I kept saying to them, "Look, January will come, it'll turn, the marathon will be, yes, Dad, yes, Dad, yes, Dad." But then they started stepping up to the mark in the January. And I had a couple of training runs with them, not many. I was still out with town, but they were doing well. And then we did the Ironbridge half together, so to give him an idea of what it was like to guide me in not pressure, that's wrong, in a sense where there's a lot of runners around you. So they coped with that. We did another one, which is the Cathedral to Castle in Lichfield, and that was a little bit of off-road. And again, they were great. They took to this guiding like ducks to water. And then we started up in the miles, and we did. Then towards the latter end, we did a couple of 18 milers, and I said, "Right, we've got to do a 20 miler," and you could just imagine that. So we went out there one day, and we'd done this 20 miler. We all come back here, and they were absolutely brimming. And they said, "Dad, we're ready. And I said, "Fantastic." So you then trot off we went to the London Expo, got our numbers, they had that experience. We had a weekend in London, we went down, got on the start line. And it's all about getting the tube across, the train across, getting to Blackheath Park, thousands and thousands and thousands of runners, and then we stood in line. It was our turn to go, the hoot or the whistle, whatever it was, off we went, the 3 of them, and we ran together, the 4 of us, the whole 26.2 miles we stayed together, which was our plan. And we got always one of them guiding me, and we got 2 behind, so that they were the ones who would grab the water bottles as we went. And we ran, and for the first half it was fantastic, and then as you start coming towards that 16 mile, 18 mile mark, I think they started to realise then, what a marathon was about. There was a few aches and pains, there was a few stops, there was a few stretches, there was a few walks, but I said to them at the time, I don't care whether it takes us all day, I'm not bothered about a time anymore. My goal that day was to get them 3 across that finish line with a London Marathon medal around their neck, and their goal was to get Dad safely to that finish line, and between the 3 of them they did. And when you throw 3 girls into an event like London with 56,000 other runners, and they guided me safely, confidently, And when they were under pressure at 16, 18, 20 miles, they still got to concentrate on getting me around there safely. And they did it. And my goodness me, when we ran down that last 100 yards to the finish, and London Marathon were brilliant, they gave us such a shout out. But we just all come together, we was in one line, and we ran in, the four of us. And that was a very, very special moment. It's my last London. What a way to finish. I was very proud, extremely proud. But what a memory to finish a London Marathon, which, you know, I love London, but what a memory. And then Deb come running down. She was really stressed. This was the funny bit. She was stressed. I'd got her in London hospitality. And all day she got food, she got drink, she got nice seats, she got TVs to watch, she got a great place in the stand. And it was funny, because as we was coming down to the line, I could hear this whistling. I hadn't got a clue who it was or whatever. And then as we finished, you know, there was the jumping up and down, there was the tears, there was, oh my goodness me. And then Deb come down, crying her eyes up. And, I'm stressed. What's the matter? I says, how is somebody supposed to blow a whistle, cry and video all at the same time? And, you know, those are the moments that at that finish line I shall never ever forget. Proud of everybody. The family was just fantastic. So that is a memory, probably one of the best memories of my life. You know, it's up there, it's great, it's fantastic. And to think I've done it with my three girls. They got a medal, a London Marathon medal. And yeah, I can't say it enough. Them fed up are probably hearing me saying it. I am so proud of those three girls. It's just incredible.
Well, that very emotional day, as I'm sure it was for all of you. I've had that experience of running the London Marathon before, but particularly with the marathon that you ran this year with your three girls, those final 100 yards, and running down the mile to the finish line, how special a feeling was that, knowing that you were doing it with your three girls?
Oh, it's very special, very special. You know, because I kept telling them as we was running, because I know it sounds stupid, but, you know, after this was my 17th London, and I do sort of remember the twists and the turns and the bands and the places and the tunnels and this and that and the other. And we got onto the embankment, and that was when it, you know, the three girls, and I think it was young Danny who said it, we ain't stopping no more, Dad, we ain't stopping anymore, well, this is it, we're running in, we got however many miles. And I thought, fantastic. Well, I'm smiling all over my face at this, because I'm loving hearing this. And I says, when we come down here, you know, you get the embankment, you got the crowds, you'll go past Big Ben, there's the Houses of Parliament, you can tell me what's about, you know, and all the rest of it, and then you'll go past the Palace. And yeah, okay. I said, yeah, we're at the Palace, Dad. Yeah. I said, and then we come up the road, you go down Birdcage Walk, you'll turn right, and then tell me when you can see that finish line. And as we was turning, the crowds was going balmy, and these three girls, you know, and then suddenly they come from behind to make a line of four. And as we was coming down, I tell you what, to hear, you know, the Heeley family, Blind Dave and his three girls, and their names were shouted out, and oh my God, what a proud 100 yards that was. I didn't want that 100 yards to finish, if you want the honest truth, because I was thinking, girls, this is what London is about. And I really wanted them to soak all that up, because I was, as I said, so proud of it. And I wanted them to be seen. I wanted them to be the spotlight. I wanted people to see what them three girls had put themselves through, what they had done, how they had done it, and got Dad safely across that line, because that was some achievement, believe you me. But that 100 yards, I'll never ever forget that. It was just incredible.
You know what? That's really wonderful to hear. Have either of the three girls, have they said to you that they're going to run another marathon?
Oh, yeah. I do believe that the eldest and the youngest applied, but unfortunately they didn't get in. But they are considering, I think it's the Super 6 half marathon series around Europe. I think they're up for that. But they will. I reckon that I think more so the youngest and the eldest I'll do another marathon. Will Georgie? Not too sure on Georgie. She could, but she's got sort of other interests. So, but who knows? All three of them may one year surprise me and say, "We're in London, Dad. We're going to do it again." So I'll be at the end this time, waiting for them. I'll be with that whistle, and I'll be crying because I won't be videoing.
Well, after all, the running genes are now in the family now, aren't they?
Hopefully, yeah.
Well, speaking of running, obviously you've ran a number of marathons.
Mm-hmm.
For anyone who is thinking of running a marathon or even getting into running,
mm-hmm.
Why should they consider it?
Well, I mean, running for me is and sport, but running in particular is a drug for me. I mean, I'm now going out 3-4 times a week, topping anything between 7 and 10 miles at the moment to keep fit. But you know what? People, I know they talk about I don't know, wanting to clear heads or whatever, and I mean it's like there's a lot talked about the mental well-being at the moment, and it's terrible because a lot of people are suffering with various mental problems. But I would say to people, a start, go and have a run, because we go out of here at 7 o'clock in the morning, me and my mate, and we talk all the way around, and at the minute he's had a couple of little issues. And I tell you what, for about half an hour of the run, he always says to me, he says, "You're now my computer, I'm downloading on you." So we have a good old chin wag, and he gets all of that, stress, aggression, whatever it is out of him. And by the time we finish, we're laughing, we're joking. I mean, we're talking about football. I mean, I'm talking about West Bromwich Albion, and he's talking about Manchester United. I mean, that ain't football, is it? But we have a laugh, and we meet people. And genuinely, it clears your head. Well, it does me. It clears my head. And although I'm listening to Tone, we're running around, I'm thinking, I've got a couple of emails to do today. I've got that job to finish there. I've got to get over there. I've got to get there. And by the time you get back and have a couple of cups of coffee and a round of toast or whatever you do, I'm ready for the day. And so it kind of, I won't say it'll solve all of the mental problems and the stress problems and everything, but it does for me. It just sort of clears me out for that day so that I'm ready to bottle it up again, I guess, for the rest of the day. But that's what it does for me. I'm not saying it'll do it for everybody, but if people want the opportunity to get that out of them, then go and have a run. Jump on your bike. Go and swim the pool. Go for a good walk. I don't know, even cricket, you're meeting a cricket ball. I think that sport is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful way to clear the body and download all your problems, you know what I mean? I'm a 7 o'clock in the morning or 6 o'clock in the morning starter, and it just keeps the rest of the day going for me. Problems just seem to, I just leave them over the valley.
Yeah. And for me, I think what I find inspiring is that sport and fitness can give basically it's a platform that can inspire so many people, can't it? Without a doubt. I mean, I know that the world and the kids of today, they all look up to the footballers, Premier League, Championship, etc., etc., etc. Your Ronaldos and all the rest of it. But are they looking up to the fact that it's football, or are they looking up to the fact that they're 100,000, 200,000, 300,000 pounds a week, and there's a bit of a difference? But I think at grassroots level, I think kids do want to play. They get on that pitch and they want to play because they want to play. And with reference to, athletics and all the rest of it, I think there's still a lot of people out there that want to challenge themselves, whether they realise it yet or not, but they want to challenge themselves and they want to put themselves into that situation where, like I did when I first started running, I stepped on that line at, on the 1500 metres, 2 strides, I was in the lead and I won it. And, I thought, I've enjoyed that. That was great, that was. And so it forces you into a kind of a training regime, which then, for me, helps in life. As we've said,
You know, I go down the valley every morning and go and have a run, and I'll leave all my problems down in the valley, come back, and then I'm ready for the day, and then fill all the problems up again that day. But I think sport does help people. There's no two ways about it. And you don't have to be an Olympic champion. You know, you don't have to break world records. It's the taking part, and it's the wanting to do it, but it's the achievement you've got in your own head, not what people think you can do. It's what you feel you can do. And I think once you're happy with yourself and you're comfortable in your own shoes, then I think it makes for a much better life or lifestyle.
Well, you just mentioned sport, and I have to ask you about the baggies. I know you're a massive West Bromwich Albion fan. How long? So tell me. So how long have you support? Well, when did you first support the baggies?
Back in the 60s, I'm guessing. I mean, you know, back in the day, my family were all baggies fans. You know, daddy's brothers and all the rest of it. Anybody on our estate, you know, we were all baggies fans. Yeah, and that's just how it started, I think. I mean, I always smile, and I do in this day and age, because everybody supports Chelsea or Liverpool or Manchester City, United, etc., etc. And I think, hang on a minute, you live in West Brom, and yet you support Manchester United. Why is that? And the simple reason is, I always say them trophy hunters. Yeah, for me, West Bromwich Albion is my team. I was born and bred in West Bromwich, and I'm going to support West Brom. We've had some good days. We've had some bad days. We've had a few more bad days. But, you know, we've been up and down the divisions. We've had some fun. And I mean, when you think about it, we've had, I mean, I'm going back and probably forgot half the blooming players, because I know people will say, do you remember? But of course, I can't read a programme anymore. I don't get a lot of... So my memory is good, but not... But I mean, you know, when you look back over the years at the players we've had on the Hawthorns pitch, it's incredible. You know, look at Brian Robson, went from West Bromwich Albion to be a superstar at Manchester United. Where's he started? West Bromwich Albion. Jeff Hassel, the king, you know. Bomber Brown, without exception, you know, Super Bowl. The list is endless. Cyril Regis. We've had some incredible players up at the Hawthorns. But unfortunately, we're not like the Liverpool, Manchester United, Manchester Cities, I guess, where people have wanted to put billions into them. Maybe if they had done 30 years ago, we could have been up there now. But West Brom's a family club. It's my club. And regardless of whatever they do, you know, Saturday we walked away from the ground expecting to beat Derby. We were sadly disappointed. We lost 1-0, 80% or whatever it was possession. But at the end of the day, you've got to put the ball in the onion bag. And we didn't do that. But, like I said to somebody who was coming back, oh, Dave, it's there. And I said, hang on a minute. I think, what are we, 5-6 games into the season? There's a lot of season left yet. And I can't see anybody going through a season anymore, other than Arsenal them years, going through and not being beat. So we'll win some, we'll lose some, we'll draw some. Hopefully we'll win more than we draw and lose. But, you know, the baggies is the baggies. And it's, again, that's another thing. You sit in them stands, and I mean, I'll sit in the stands. I love the occasion, love the atmosphere. I got my earphones in, because I have to listen to the radio, Albion radio, even in the ground. But it's just being there, isn't it? You know, you come out with a big beaming smile when you got 3 points. You're slightly disappointed when you've lost. But that's football, isn't it? But I just think it's great football at the baggies. I think I'd rather be going to the baggies each week than going to, you know, your Cities and your Uniteds, etc. It must get boring. You know, we don't know what's going to happen. They probably do. And I'm thinking, I'd rather be entertained than just accept. But, hey, West Bromwich Albion is the team, and that's all there is to it.
The Hawthorns has recently celebrated its 125th anniversary. Are there any, from your time going to the Hawthorns, are there any memories that stand out for you?
Yeah, obviously, you know, not the fact that the Hawthorns itself, but the '68 Cup final, and obviously we won it. There's been a few games up there that, you know, we should have won and we lost, and there's been a few games up there that you expect to lose and you win. For me, if you want to, the football has been fantastic. Not always, but let's put majority of the time, shall we say. But for me, it's been times when I've been on the pitch myself, and you know, I got presented with various things by Cyril Regis. I've got to know a lot of the players, but you know, when I come back from the 7 marathons, I got the opportunity to do a lap of honour around the pitch, which was absolutely incredible. So I've probably been on the pitch doing a few things that a lot of supporters would love to be. So I think I've been extremely privileged to be able to go on the pitch, you know, or allowed to go on the pitch rather than run on the pitch, you know what I mean? And yeah, so I've had some great moments up there, for the foundation as well, for West Bromwich itself. Met a lot of players. I mean, it was 2 weeks ago now, isn't it? 2 weeks ago. We had a Legends game up there, which was the ex-British boys for West Brom play the ex-Rest of the World team for West Brom. And I was asked to be the manager of the Rest of the World team, to stand on the touchline, you know, to be that acting manager for the day with those legends on the pitch. And we won 3-1. Was brilliant. So they obviously took note of my you know, team talk, and I've now retired. So I've got a 100% record, managerial record. Played one, won one, 100%. You know, it's moments like that, and I guess we could talk all day about various things, people we've met, things we've done, but you know, the Hawthorns itself, a lot of it all just rolls into one for me. But it's just great. It is great. Yeah.
And you know, you obviously mentioned that the fact that you've been on, and you know, you've had the opportunity, you've had the privilege of being able to step onto that Hawthorns pitch. How special a feeling has that been?
Oh, it's been great, and I think there's a lot of fans up there that would probably, you know, a lot of fans have been on the pitch when obviously pitch invasions have gone on, but when you've been allowed to go on there, and I'll tell you what, it is fantastic. So I can only imagine what the players was for. I mean, I've run around the pitch on numerous occasions, and you've had that ground shouting your name out. Wow. I think if I'd got hair down to my backside, it would have stood on end and it would have been way up there. It's just an incredible feeling. It is just an incredible feeling. You know, Baggies fan, the Hawthorns pitch, hallowed turf, football stadium full, and at times when I've done various things and allowed to do it, you've even had the away fans shouting, clapping and chanting. Oh, it's just amazing. It is amazing. I can't really explain it. It's just absolutely amazing. So, you know, but as I say, I've had the privilege of being allowed to do it. And I'd probably say that's every fan's dream, isn't it? Yeah. Stand in the middle of that pitch and I suppose put your arms up in some gallant fashion, you know what I mean? Oh, just incredible.
And just finally, what are your hopes for the Baggies this season?
Well, I hope we have a good season because I do enjoy the football. And like every fan's dream, I guess, we all want to get back into, as they call it now, the promised land, don't we? You know, Premier League football. So that's where inevitably me as a fan and every fan that's up there want us to be in the Premier League. I do believe that the new owners will, as it's been said, you know, they want to do the right thing and they seem as though they're doing the right thing, and from what I've been told through sources within, it may take a couple of years to get, you know, the right team and the right support for them sorted. Premier League this season would be lovely. If we don't go to the Premier League, then there's always a season after. But I do believe in the next couple of seasons we'll get back there. You know, we're beginning to build a team. The only problem we've got with building the team is then you've got TV all over the place, and suddenly you get a couple of decent players, and suddenly everybody else in the country is looking at them, and they make bids for them, and then you lose the players, don't you? You know, too many people, I guess, don't leave Liverpool or Manchester City unless they've got to. And you can't blame players that if they're seen and they're playing well and somebody like them come along and, you know, offer them a very, very good contract, you can't blame them. But it would be nice for the rest of the leagues to leave us alone, let us build, and then get ourselves into the Premier League and let's see if we can establish ourselves up there. And on a selfish note, and this is a very, very selfish note, I want us to get back into the Premier League with West Bromwich Albion, because that means that the Albion Foundation get extra sponsorship and funding through the Premier League, which will help the charity and in turn help all of the kids through the disability sports that you know we do support even more help. So it makes life a lot easier. So yep, that's selfish of me, but that's, you know, let's get West Brom up there and let's get them kids sorted.
Up the buggies.
Boing, boing.
Dave, honestly, it's been such a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for your time.
Pleasure.
And wish you the very best. And that's a wrap for today's episode of Manish Patel in Conversation With. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and our awesome guest, Blind Dave Heeley. If you enjoyed the chat, don't forget you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/themanishism. Leave a review and share with your friends. So I'll catch you next time for another fun and informal conversation. Until then, take care and keep the good vibes going.